African leaders are so mad because for me, I look at African leaders as people who are not helping to change the lives of the people in Africa. Because if you look at the continent of Africa, it's not a surprise to see that the continent is not developing. There are many people who are going through difficulties in Africa because leadership that we have in Africa is not providing solutions to end the problems of the people. It's like our leaders are busy doing things which are not good for the people because if we have leadership, it means that we need to have solutions on the problems that people are having. So leaders should be able to know what people are looking for so that whatever they are doing as leaders should be in line with the aspirations of the people. But the leaders in Africa, they are there because they would like to achieve certain goals which are not about the people. So as such, Africa is still poor up to now. There's no development. There's no better life in Africa. And you can even agree with me that the economies of Africa are small and actually they're dwindling. Because if you take, for example, the economy in the SADC region, if you put it together, is not even in trillion in dollars. But the resources that Africa or the SADC has are so much. Now, if you take the economy of the whole Africa and put it together, it's not even 4 trillion US dollars. That is very sad. If Africa is to develop, we need to make sure that the aggregate economy value that we have in Africa should be more than 20 trillion US dollars. Because if you take, for example, the economy of the United States of America is above 23 trillion US dollars, and the economy of China is above 22 trillion dollars. What about the economy of Africa? It's not even above 5 trillion dollars. So there's somebody else who is causing all these things to happen to the economy of Africa so that we cannot develop, so that we cannot grow our economy. Take, for example, the economy of Europe. So if we take, for example, Britain, ADI, and all other economies, I think they're even more than 12 trillion dollars. But what about Africa? What is the problem? That our economy cannot be as much as the economy of the United States of America in aggregate. Let us develop Africa. We have got the power as the continent to begin to develop by emphasizing on the internal expansion of the economy as we try to do business amongst ourselves so that we can grow our economy. Because if Africa is to develop, it must master the art of how to make sure that as Africa we develop without relying on the Americans, Europeans, or Chinese. We must do business amongst ourselves, and the target is to help empower each other in Africa. We must build the Africa we want. But the leaders that we have in Africa, they're looking for things which are not even important for the whole Africa. For example, if you take, for example, Malawi, because this is the country where I'm coming from, so I'll be able to speak about this country in most of my videos because I really feel bad whenever I see this country failing to develop, because for me, I don't understand why the country like Malawi cannot develop, because it is a country which is quite peaceful, but it is failing to take advantage of its peace so that it can be busy developing. But the problem is that our leaders would like to borrow money from the United Nations, from International Monetary Fund, from World Bank, from European Union, and from any other bank that can lend money to the country of Malawi. And this is not helping the country to grow economically, because you know already that if you do not do the business by yourself, that you are able to use your resources to generate wealth which you are looking for, but instead you are looking for somebody to support you financially through loans or grants, you cannot develop. You need to understand that you need to think so how you can make your own money and develop, change the lives of the people. So as Africa, we must understand that our economies must be grown. We must build the Africa we want. We should come together and be able to understand that why are we in Africa not developing? Because if we are not even able to understand the reason why we are not developing, I think it's going to be very difficult for us to have an approach that will help us to get the level of the economic prosperity which we are looking for, which in my case, we haven't even reached it, because we are still in Africa busy paying back the loans to the International Monetary Fund, paying back to the World Bank, and even America today is busy even cutting the aid to Africa and to many countries in the world. So if Africa is relying much on the United States of America for its financial strength and prosperity, then it means that we are not going to be able to prosper again, because the aid is being cut by the United States of America. China has been giving more money to African continent, but this has never even helped us, because if you look at maybe the money that China is giving to the African continent, you look at it in dollars, maybe it's $100 billion that is being given to the whole continent of Africa. And how are we benefiting from this? Of course, we know China has been supporting individual countries in Africa. Almost each and every country in Africa has been supported by China in terms of road infrastructure developments and many important aid. And China is helping us in that way. But are we able to end the poverty of people in Africa by the aid that Chinese government is giving to Africa? Is giving African nations? We are not even able to end our poverty. We are still poor in Africa. But now it is the time we should understand that we have got the responsibility as African leaders to make sure that we do the right job. I was even wondering why the African Union was busy talking about the free trade in Africa, and also was busy talking about one passport in Africa. But all these things are not even being accomplished, because Africa is still not using one passport. Africa is still not having the common market, like free trade in Africa is no longer there. What has happened so that these things are not being realized despite being talked about by the African Union? And in fact, even there was a meeting in Kigali about these things, and we heard that even Ghana was chosen as the secretariat for the free trade area in Africa. But what's going on? It has stopped because we don't have leaders in Africa who would like to make us get united. We have got leaders who are thinking about themselves, thinking about how can I control the power, how can I be the president forever. They're not talking about what they are doing strategically to help Africa come together so that we can develop. But this is the time now we should think about developing the African continent. Let's make the economies in Africa to be stronger. And actually, if I'm looking at Malawi, for example, the economy of Malawi in aggregate, maybe it's 19 billion US dollars. This is a small amount of money compared with the population size of Malawi, which is 24 million people. And so we are talking about 19 billion US dollars against 23 or 24 million people. You think the country can develop with such kind of gross domestic product, which is not even enough for the whole people in Malawi? Let's come together, Africa, to find out what we can do in order to improve our economies and make Africa to become the great even continent. It is possible. We have got the resources, so we should use our resources to develop us. And actually, even we have got people in Africa who are in billions. Yeah, actually, we have got 1.2 or 1.5 billion people in Africa. This is a lot of people. Let's come together. Let us develop Africa. We can build the better Africa we want together. And our leaders understand that they are, because people would like you to make them get to the Canaan, get to the place where they are looking for. So make Africa to become the great continent. We can do that within Africa. And we can do that without America, without China, without Europe. We can do that on our own. Thank you for watching this video. My name is Henrik on Henrik's TV. I believe you're going to share this video with your friends so that they should even watch this video and be able to know what we are looking for, and make sure this video it becomes a viral video in Africa. Thank you. Please remember to subscribe to my channel. Bye bye.